Matthias Hombauer is father of 2 children, a boy and a girl, if I'm not mistaken. He lives in Vienna. He studied molecular biology, and on his website I read he was aiming for the Nobel Prize, but after 4 years he got simply bored with that topic and decided to follow his dream, which is photography and music. And well, he combined those 2 things, and he became a rock star photographer. So he was touring with the biggest bands on earth, and his work got published on albums in different magazines, such as the Rolling Stones magazine. He created a global community around this topic of concert photography, and I'm super curious to learn more about his journey and about what he has done so far. So Matthias, I'm delighted to have you here, and yeah, thank you for your time, and the stage is yours. Enjoy.
Thank you so much, Marco. So welcome, everybody. Yeah, so what I'm going to do now is I'm talking about mastery, the 4 pillars to successful dream projects. And I want to tell my story. I have a PhD in molecular biology. I'm a rockstar photographer and also a entrepreneur. And I want to share what I have learned in the last 10 years or so, which can be also beneficial for your projects to start with or with your ongoing dream projects. So as Marco already said, we're aiming for like 40-45 minutes with the presentation. And if you have any questions, I'm really happy to have you in the Q&A then to discuss in more detail. So let's start with a brief overview of my history. So this was 2008. I was a PhD student in immunology at the General Hospital in Vienna. I was really curious about how our body fights against viruses and bacteria, and I was really into this topic. However, after a couple of years into my PhD thesis, I figured out that this is not really the life that I want to live, because it was frustrating. The projects went on for years. You know, there were a lot of work, and it was not really my dream job anymore. So what I needed to decide is, what should I do further? Should I stay in the lab, like in the picture in the left, or should I do something totally crazy and become a rock star photographer? So for me, this was always like there were 2 pillars in my life. It was music, because I also played the guitar in a death metal band back when I was 13 years old. I went to concerts and so on. And then late, with about 28 years old, I started to grab my first camera and started as everyone else, like taking photos of flowers and of mountains and some portraits. And then somehow I figured out, why not combining those 2 passions? And I need to tell this story because I'm still puzzled by myself when I'm thinking how this all worked. So I was riding my bike to work, and all of a sudden I heard this voice in my head saying, why are you not combining those 2, music and photography, and becoming a concert photographer? And the weird thing is, I have never thought about it consciously. I have had no idea what a concert photographer is. So this was really coming out of the blue. And so when I arrived at work, I Googled concert photography. I found a guy in the US who was writing about it. And this is how I got started with concert photography. Upgraded my gear, went to small concerts and so on, and was able to really shoot the things that I really loved. So 10 years later, now I'm a published concert photographer. I was working with my favorite bands like Prodigy here, who also published some photos in their albums. I was on stage in front of 120,000 people here with Vintage Trouble as a support band of AC/DC a couple of years ago in Austria, being here the biggest open air event ever held. This was a shot from Miley Cyrus. I was shooting the Rolling Stones for the Rolling Stone magazine. This one is from Metallica. And a couple of months ago, back before the Corona crisis, I was invited to go to Saudi Arabia and shoot one of the biggest music festivals there. So they flew me in for 5 times. Went there on Thursday, come back on Sunday, and this for 5 weeks in a row. This is Lil Wayne. There were all these huge DJs playing, DJ Marshmello, Alan Walker, Swedish House Mafia, and so on, and all the rap stars like Wiz Khalifa, Future, Lil Wayne here. And this is how it looked like. This was really a crazy adventure for myself as a concert photographer. I was working for Instagram a couple of years ago when they flew me into France to cover the biggest music festival in France. It was a 5 days festival in Francophonie. Then here you can see I toured a little bit with Chantel. It's a German Balkan band. Toured to Mexico, to the US, and a couple of European gigs here and there. Then I flew to Buenos Aires and did a collective music photography exhibition in one of the most prestigious galleries there. So these guys are all from around the world: Madrid, New York, Buenos Aires, and myself on the right here, which was cool as well. So I was living the rockstar life. It was really awesome. I was flying around. I was taking photos of my favorite bands. But then something happened in my life again, and I became a father. You can see here Mia with the funny mouse hat on. She's becoming 4 next month, and Noah with the penguin hat. He's now 16 months old. And when Mia was born, I was thinking, it's cool to have this rockstar life and doing all these cool and awesome things. But what's really important in my life? And I figured out that one of my core values, my inner values, is family. And I wanted to spend as much time with my kids as possible. And you often hear super high achievers and successful people saying, I had everything, I had my business, I had money, but what I lacked was the support from my family when the kids grow up, and it was never there for them. And so I said, I don't want to do this. I want to be at home for my family, but I also want to have a thriving business as an entrepreneur. So therefore, I thought about what can I do. Being a rockstar photographer, touring with bands all the time is not the way to do it. So I started a platform called How to Become a Rockstar Photographer. And this is an online project where I teach how you can become a concert photographer. So that's a course, and I built around a worldwide community with most likely 6,000 newsletter subscribers. Since the launch like 5 years ago, I reached more than 200,000 people in more than 100 countries. So the main market is the US, followed by UK and Australia. And this community is all about giving or showing people that it's possible to live your dreams, even though you have never picked up a camera before, even though you have no idea how to get into this business, because I also had no idea. I'm a self-taught photographer. I had no idea about the business side of music photography, nor to building a community. Everything happened on the way. And so I was able to build this awesome community with followers worldwide. And there are some awesome stats. So if you go to Instagram and you're looking for the hashtag HDBarb, which is short for how to become a rockstar photographer, and every marketing guy would give you a slap in the face and say, HDBarb, what's this? I mean, no one can remember it. It's too abstract. But you can see here, it has more than 460,000 posts right now from people who are tagging their photos and generating an awesome gallery of concert photos. And then I did a podcast, and the aim was to interview 100 people, or 100 of the best concert photographers, actually. And I reached this goal 3 months ago. It was a process of 2.5 years with a weekly show. I had more than 100,000 downloads, and I'm just so grateful for everyone who contributed. And it seemed the podcast was really a vehicle to share the love, to spread the information, and people really enjoyed the podcast and what they could learn from. There were even guys there who are, I guess today just one commented on Facebook and said, I was listening from episode 1 to episode 100, which is just awesome. So this was just a short introduction, what I'm doing and where I'm coming from. Before I continue, I just want to show you this slide, and it's called the forgetting curve. So I don't know if you have heard about it. There is the learning curve, but there's also forgetting curve. The forgetting curve tells you that if you learn something new within 3 days, you will lose most likely 80% what you have learned. So after 4 or 5 days, you can't even remember almost anything about it. So what I would like you to encourage is get a pen and paper or have a second window open on your computer to make some notes. I know this is going to be a lot, what I'm covering here, but the good thing is that those tricks and tips and hacks are all for free, and they're easy to implement in your life as well. So just don't make the mistake and don't write anything. And after the webinar, you can't remember anything. So just as a reminder, forgetting curve. It's important to grab your pen and paper. Yeah, so mastery, the 4 steps to successful projects. What I would like to cover here is the 4 steps that I found out are the key pillars to successful projects. And if I have a look at my own life and my own history, like doing the studies as molecular biologist and ending it or finishing it with a PhD, starting this concert photography business from scratch and become an international acclaimed rockstar photographer, starting an online business from scratch and build the worldwide biggest community of concert photographers, and also doing the podcast. I've never done an interview before, but doing 100 podcasts, interviews in the range of 2.5 years. So what I figured out, there are 4 kind of points or pillars that all those projects had in common. And I guess if you tackle one by one, you are on the right way to become successful with your projects as well. So starting out with passion. What is passion? I would say passion is the thing, if you're working on a project or the work you're doing and you're like always smiling about it, you're always raving about it, you're thinking about it, you wake up in the night or during the night and what you think is about your project, right? You're working on the weekend on it, Sunday evening, and it's not feeling like it's work for you, but you're really enjoying it. So this is what I mean with passion and what I'm talking about. Fortunately, the last 5.5 years, I'm working or starting this project, this online project. I have never had a single day thinking, oh man, this sucks. I don't want to do this anymore. And so this is what I'm talking about. And if you haven't found your passion so far, there is a nice kind of correlation. You can see it here. It's curiosity, passion, and purpose. So curiosity is what are you interested in? What do you like? Is it playing the guitar? Is it cooking? Is it yoga? Is it graphic design? Is it fashion? Is it painting, reading, whatever it is? Figure out what you're really curious about it. And then take 1 or 2 of these items. You can write down a list of like 10 or 20, what you really like, and then take 2 of them and really get into depth. So if you like to play the guitar, sit down every day and play the guitar for an hour and see what happens after 1 week. Maybe you don't like it anymore because your finger are bleeding and or you don't like the process, or probably you're not patient enough to play the newest song of your favorite artist in a short time. So check out if this is something you like or not. If this curiosity is still there after 1 or 2 weeks, then probably it's becoming a passion. So there is this saying, you become a master in an art or in a craft once you're spending 10,000 hours with this craft or with this art. So just get started, play your guitar, paint, whatever it is, for a couple of weeks and see if this sticks. If it sticks, then probably it's becoming a passion. And then what really is the fundament of a passion that you can do on the long run is ask yourself, why are you doing this? And there is a great book called Start With Why from Simon Sinek, if you guys know about it. And the strategy behind this is that most likely people talk about, what do you do? What I'm doing, okay, I'm playing the guitar. How do you do what you do? Then you can say, okay, I have this patterns and I have this technique and this is how it's working. But most likely not so many people are asking, why do you do what you do? What's the purpose? Why are you playing the guitar? Why do you like it? So dig a little bit deeper and find out why it is. So for me, doing the PhD was because I wanted to learn more about my own body. How is my biochemistry? How does genetics work? So this was my why. When I started with rockstar photography, my why was I wanted to work with my favorite bands because I love music so much. So this was a really strong why, had a strong emotion attached to it. Then why did I start my online project? I started my online project because of my kids, and I didn't want to be away on tour with those bands. I wanted to stay at home and sell online courses because this freed my time to play more with the kids. So you see, you always need to find your why. And once you know your why, then everything gets easier because then you're not in your way anymore. You know your purpose and everything starts to flow, and your work will be a lot easier. Your project will be a lot easier to achieve. So that's passion. A friend of mine, Ali Malocci, was also a guest here. He wrote a great book, Entdecke dein Wofür. It's in German. Was just published a couple of months ago. And he is explaining exactly how you find your why. The second big thing is your mindset. So what's your mindset? There are two mindset types. There is the fixed mindset and there's the growth mindset. A lot of people have a fixed mindset, which means failure is the limit of my abilities. If I fail once, I'm a loser. I cannot do it anymore. I'm either good at it or I'm not. So maybe I can play the guitar or I can't. There is no in between. I cannot learn it anymore because my abilities are unchanging. I cannot change it. It's like, it's genetics, it's fate. I cannot sing. That's how it is. I cannot do anything about it. I can either do it or I can't. I don't like to be challenged, or when I'm frustrated, I give up. Feedback and criticism are personal and I stick to what I know. So these are typical fixed mindset like sentences. And if you have a fixed mindset, that's cool as well, but don't think you can make it as an entrepreneur or you live your dream with this kind of mindset. You need a growth mindset, and the growth mindset is here on the blue head, most likely growth mindset. Failure is an opportunity to grow. So you encourage failure. If you fail, you think about it and say, okay, I tried this, that's not working. So maybe next time I'm trying something else. I can learn to do anything I want. If you like to play the guitar, if you like to sing, do it. Just take the time and learn it. And being there in the long run is always better than talent. So it always trumps talent. Challenges help me to grow. My effort and attitude determine my abilities. Feedback is constructive. I like to try new things. You see, if you're open-minded and if you say, okay, I can do whatever I want, it's not about my genetics, it's about my my attitude and my mindset, then that's already a good way to start with it. And what I would like to do here is just to give you some examples of quotes that I'm using on a daily basis and that help me to remember what's really important. You don't have to be perfect, just fucking do things. So that's my favorite quote. And what it says is just start now. We have so many things that we're saying we cannot start right now, okay? It's like, okay, I need a homepage now, but I don't know how to do it. Or I need to do a podcast, but I have no idea what gear I need. Or I need this graphic design for my logo, but I don't know. Probably I wait a little bit more until I can do it by myself. So perfectionism really ruins a lot. And I'm talking here also from my experience, because I lost a lot of valuable time by not starting the things, but just procrastinating, and then don't do it anything. So that's not how it's working. Do things. You don't need to be perfect. Just fucking do things. That's the thing. And for those of you who knew this man or know this man, Arnold Schwarzenegger, in one of his first movies, Conan the Barbarian, it wasn't his best movie, right? But he got started in Hollywood somewhere, and this is how he did it. Success is a journey, not a destination. The doing is often more important than the outcome. That's also an important one. It's most likely not about the end result. It's more about the destination and how you go there. So the steps in between are more important than really the end results. Your ICANN is much more important than your IQ. So this means if you have this right mindset, the growth mindset, and you have this ICANN attitude, then you can also do it. It's not about your IQ and your talent. It's more your attitude towards it. One important one that I'm feeling really hit me a couple of times, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Be patient and grind hard. So this means overnight success is a myth. So it's not working that you're starting your blog, that you're taking some photos as a photographer, that you're publishing a song and you're a rock star, right? So this is also not how it's working. And I guess all of you know this here, Angry Birds. And the story goes that that's a Swedish software company, and it was their 50-second game, and then they were world famous. And most people say, okay, those guys had this world hit, Angry Birds, and they're awesome. But think of it if they have just stopped after the second failure, the 10th failure, the 20th failure. So you need to be there in the long run. Dream big, start small, act now. Also an important one. Always dream big, but always start small. So you can have the biggest dreams, but you're getting frustrated and overwhelmed if you just see the top of the mountain and you're down in the valley and you think, I want to be there, but I have no idea how to go there. So if you concentrate step by step, so slowly, baby steps, day by day, you will be there sometime. It maybe takes some months, maybe it takes some years, but you will be there if you're continuously going this path. And by focusing on baby steps and starting right now, it's much easier to reach your big goal. The next pillar I want to talk is one of my favorite ones, is habits. So I stumbled about this topic of habits a couple of years ago. And for me, it never occurred to me that I need some good habits to promote my work and my doing as an artist. So we have this willpower. I guess all of you have heard about it. Willpower means you want to eat more healthy, and you say, I don't want to eat this cookie in the evening, which is placed on the kitchen table. And maybe you take it, maybe you're not taking it, right? And the willpower, the newest research shows that it simply doesn't work. Willpower is like a battery from your cell phone. And when you're starting in the morning, your willpower, so to speak, is fully charged. You can make decisions on the fly. You can say, I'm not eating this cookie now in the morning because it's not healthy. But once you're getting home after a hard day work, probably your willpower battery is drawn and you cannot do it anything else than go to this kitchen table and eat the cookie. So willpower doesn't really work. Therefore, a better strategy is to install daily habits, good habits that help you to grow personally and also as an artist, as an entrepreneur, whatever it is you're doing. Research shows it takes 66 days to form a new habit. So that's a rather long time. But what you can do is starting small with an everyday habit. And I want to go into a little bit more detail here and show you some examples of habits that you can install into your lifestyle right away without a lot of money at all, because they're free, and you don't need a lot of effort for it. So there is one habit which is really cool, which is really easy to implement. It's called Make Your Bed. And there is even a book out there from Admiral WILLIAMH McRaven, who wrote about it, why it's important. And what he found out, or what he's writing about, is the following. Make your bed in the morning is a simple task, but you have a quick win. And the quick win is what sets you apart, because if you wake up in the morning, you make your bed, you already have done something, you have achieved something, and your mindset is already like, oh, cool, I have done it. I made my bed. This is a success for me. And your day will start totally different than if you're, waking up and you're just grumpy because it's too early in the morning and you're tired. Meditation is a huge thing. A lot of people talking about nowadays. I started it a couple of years ago. I tried different styles. I'm sticking now to one special kind of meditation, but in the end, it doesn't matter which meditation it is. It's important that you're doing it. And it doesn't matter if you're sitting 10 minutes or 5 minutes or 2 minutes, just start small. And meditation becomes more and more one of the key pillars next to a good nutrition, sleep, and exercise. And what meditation provides is it reduces stress, it decreases depression, lowers blood pressure, helps you better sleep, increase well-being, and increase positive emotions. And for every one of you who doesn't know how to meditate, if you're new to it, I would highly recommend to get the Headspace app. So there's an app called Headspace. There's a paid version, but it's also a free version as well with guided meditations. And this is really cool because you're sitting there with your cell phone and you have someone, by the way, a really cool monk who is guiding you through short meditations. And this is how you can start with meditations as well. I find this app the best on the market so far. There are different ones, but this is a good one. Brian Tracy said, if you can get yourself to read 30 minutes a day, you're going to double your income every year. And even though if you're not doubling your income, what reading for 30 minutes a day does is you will have a head start compared to all others who are not reading. And imagine if you're taking a general business book, it has like 250 pages. And if you read 30 minutes a day, you can read 2 to 3 books per month. And that's huge. And you will have such a head sprint, and you will learn a lot. And I'm a big fan of reading books. And I would say I wouldn't have been able to build this community and also not this rockstar brand of photography business if I wouldn't have read all these books. So it's not about fiction books. You can read them too, but they won't help a lot. It's more like non-fiction books, self-help books, this business books, if you're in this niche of startups, entrepreneurial stuff. Box breathing. It's a really nice strategy that not so many people know about it. So box breathing was or comes from the Navy SEALs. So Navy SEALs are the special force entity from the US Army. These are the guys who are fighting in war zones and stuff like this. So they are the hard guys. And what box breathing does, it reduces stress. It promotes calm, improves mental focus, and improves mood. And it's an easy to do breathing technique, and I would like to guide you through it now. So what you're doing is inhale for 4 seconds, then hold your breath for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and hold for 4 seconds. If 4 seconds are too long for you, if you're not used to this kind of thing, you can also do 3 seconds. So probably just try it in now. I'm counting here. So inhale for 4 seconds. Inhale 1, 2, 3, 4. Then hold your breath. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale 2, 3, 4. And hold again. 2, 3, 4. This was one cycle from box breathing. And if you do it a couple of times, like 1 minute, you will feel a lot calmer. And this you can do whenever you want to, you know, if you're waiting in a grocery line, if you're at home, before an exam, before a stressful situation, in a stressful situation, whatever it is, try it out. It's good stuff. And if you need help with this, there is also the Oak app, and it's free, and there will be a guided box breathing session there, so you can listen and be guided, at least in the beginning, that you know how it's done. Another one is 2 liters of water a day. That's a simple advice. It's hard to do. I have to admit, the best way to do it is to grab 1 liter water bottle, fill it up in the morning, and drink 2 of those during the day, and then you're done. One of the things with habits is you need to track them. If you don't track them, you have no idea what you're doing. So probably you want to start meditating, but then you meditate on Monday, and then you meditate on Wednesday and on Saturday, and by Sunday you don't know how often you have meditated. So if you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So one of the best ways is to download an app. It's called Done, a simple habit tracker. And it's a free one, free app. You download it and you say, okay, probably drink water, probably make my bed. And then every day you're doing the things, you tap it, you mark it, and you can see in the calendar how often you did it and so on. And it really motivates you if you can see, okay, you're rolling, you made your bed the last 7 days, and then it's getting much easier afterwards. Yeah, and as a last point, productivity. Habits are great. The mindset is great, and also the passion is needed, but you also need to install productivity tools. At least in my case, I'm a father of 2 kids, and I simply don't have time to spend my whole day in front of Facebook. This is what I did before, but that's not working for me anymore. So therefore, I was searching for alternatives and how I can overcome this situation. So there is one theory, and then there is a tool I want to introduce to you. The Big Rocks theory says, sort out 3 important tasks, work on them first thing in the morning. You can imagine this pickle jar here. It's a glass jar. It's filled with stones. So there are big rocks, and there is sand, and there are pebbles, smaller stones. The sand are the small, less important tasks. The pebbles are the tasks with average importance, and then there is the rocks with the important tasks. And what it says is most people are starting their day with the sand, with the small and less important task, because they don't want to do the hard stuff in the morning, right? They're answering emails and they check the social media and so on. But the thing is, the more sand you're filling into this glass jar, by the afternoon, your glass jar is almost full and you have no space for the big rocks, for the important things anymore. So the theory of big rocks is start with the big rocks, with the most important task first, because once you have these big rocks in your jar, the most important tasks, then you can do the small and the less important tasks, or the task with average importance because you already did the important stuff. So start with the most important ones first. And one technique I'm using, which is really cool, is called the Pomodoro technique. It's a time management system. And Pomodoro in Italian means tomato. And Francesco Chirillo found this technique by using a kitchen timer in a tomato shape. So that's why the name is Pomodoro. Sorry, and how it's done is the following. So you decide on the task to be done, so the most important thing, then you set the timer to 25 minutes. So you're working for 25 minutes until the timer rings, until your kitchen clock rings, and then you take a short 5 minutes break. So that's in all the 30 minutes, and then you start again. 25 minutes, 5 minutes break, 25 minutes, 5 minutes break. And you do this 4 times or less if you don't have the time. And then you take a longer break of 15 to 30 minutes. And it sounds complicated, but it's rather easy. And there are some apps, some free apps out there. TOMIOHTY, free desktop timer for Windows and Mac. And it's a little tool, a little app that you install on your desktop or laptop. And you say, okay, start the Pomodoro, and then the clock will count down from 25 minutes. And once you reach the 25 minutes, it will tell you, take a 5 minutes break, and then it starts again. And this is really phenomenal. So what you can do in 25 minutes focused work, it's just unbelievable. So as I said, I was spending the whole day in front of my computer, and I always had the feeling like I didn't achieve anything the whole day, even though I was sitting in front of my computer, but I just did, you know, adding sand to my glass. These were all the small, unimportant tasks that I tackled, but nothing important was done after the day ends. So with 25 minutes focus work, you're not checking your Facebook, you're not checking your emails, you're just concentrated doing deep work, and you will be amazed what you can do in this short period of time. What kills your productivity? Social media addiction. We all have it, I assume, including myself. So the easiest way to get rid of this productivity killer is delete your social media apps. That's the easiest way to do it. I know we are all like Instagram photos, and we need Facebook and Twitter and Messenger, and we need to probably not Snapchat anymore, but TikTok. But if you're not really using it strategically to promote your stuff, then I think it's a waste of time. Just checking others' news feed, why should you do it? I know it's fun, and all of a sudden you spend 2 hours scrolling the Facebook news or whatever, or the Instagram feed, but it doesn't make any sense from a productivity standpoint at all. So just delete it. What really helped me, delete Facebook, delete Messenger, because then I can't answer, I can't use the Messenger, and I can't check Facebook. I still have Instagram on it because I'm starting again with posting stories and such, but Twitter is also gone. So no need for this. Yeah, and at the end, I just want to finish here with, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. That's really something that you need to think of. And it's so important, I would like to repeat it. So you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Choose wisely. So what does it mean? If you surround yourself with open-minded people, with successful people, with people who have the right values, with people who wants to change something in the world for the better, then you're most likely driven by those people, by the average of those kind of attitudes and those people, how they behave, and you will mimic them, and you will become probably more like them. If you're just hanging out with people who are negative and complaining all the time, you will become one of these guys, and this is not what you want. One way is to find a mentor. Here's Katja and Hermann from the DREAMA Academy. I guess some of you know about them. This is also how I found the Moonshot Pirates. So these are my mentors I'm in touch with. And Another way is to join a mastermind group. So we are here, the 5 dads. Everyone has a business, a thriving business. Everyone has kids. And Ari is also here at the bottom. And this is an open or loosely mastermind group where we meet every week or every 2 weeks, whenever it fits, just to discuss the things that's going on in our life, what our challenges, how can we help each other, how can we promote each other. And this is really something that you can either start your own mastermind group with your guys, with your friends, or you join a mastermind group from somewhere else. There are a lot of Facebook groups out there. Just make sure it's a rather small one. It's not the same like an open Facebook group for a specific topic where there are thousands of people in there, because that's not personal. You want to get really close to those guys, or to your friends, or to those guys in the mastermind. You want to build relationships. You want to become friends. You want to hang out with them. You want to just text them on WhatsApp, and you will want to get an answer quick, because this is how a mastermind group is working. So here they are, the 4 steps to successful projects: passion, mindset, habits, and productivity. At least these are the 4 that I found really helpful for my projects when I'm looking back. And hopefully you enjoyed this ride with me. Let me know if you guys have any questions. I'm really happy to help you out with it. And yeah, I'm giving it back to Marco.
All right. Thank you very much. That
Welcome.
was really, really cool. I enjoyed it a lot.
Thank you.
Maybe one question that was at the very beginning from Simon. He posted it on the chat. So he was writing, how old were you once you realized that? I assume he was talking about your switch from molecular biology to music and photography.
Simon, yeah, right question. Great question, and right question as well. For me, so switching from molecular biology to finding my passion in photography and music was like when I was 28 years old. I'm now 40. But when I'm looking back, there were always kind of steps or different milestones in my kind of career. I started out as a, death metal guitarist with such long hair back in the 90s. This was always like my dream, being in a band, becoming a rock star. Unfortunately, this didn't work out somehow. And so I decided to do something else. And I went to study molecular biology. And at this time point, this was really what I was into it. And I thought, okay, that's the right thing to do. And after doing my PhD, it was like, okay, probably I don't really like the system and how it works. It's a lot of politics and it's not the way I want to work. So I'm switching again. And for me, the challenging thing was until then that I was always afraid to get this feeling again, because you're studying for 9 years molecular biology. You're so sure that's your dream job. And then all of a sudden, at least it was a process of 2 years, you figure out, no, that's not the thing that you want to do. And you're changing again. And you have this feeling, is something wrong with me? What is it? I mean, everyone is asking you if you're crazy, because I had a stipend from Sharing Stiftung, which is a prestigious stipend for my PhD thesis. So there would be, all the doors would be open if I go the academic career. Could work in the best labs and so, but for me this was not feeling right, so I switched. And then when I did the rockstar photography thing, I learned to kind of appreciate this feeling. And being a rockstar photographer or a concert photographer 10 years felt great, but then when my kids came, this other feeling came again and said kind of, hey, what's important for you in life? Do you want to do this photography thing for the rest of your life? Do you want to be in front of a stage when you're 80? Or what are you going? What's the plan? And so I figured out the most important point is family. And so I switched again, even though I was on my peak of being a concert photographer. So I guess it's important to get to know yourself a little better and also appreciate those feelings. I guess a lot of people will have these feelings like, I'm studying, or I have I have a job, but I'm not really happy with it. But what should I do? And even though I have this feeling and this passion for something else, probably it's better I'm not talking too much about it and just do my normal life and do what society tells me to do. So I think this is also cool. Therefore, I like the name also Moonshot Pirates, because I think you need to be a pirate. You need to be a little bit an awkward outsider, something like a crazy ones, like Apple did it with the ad in the beginning of the 80s. You need to be the crazy one. You need to be the one who is not walking the path that everyone is walking, but maybe take another path where no one has walked before. And so it's not easy, but if you believe in yourself, which is also really crucial, then things will start to flow in this direction. And you will see that if this is really something you want to do or you should do.
I very much agree. And I believe we all had those moments in our lives when we felt something is wrong. The thing is that I believe that a lot of people don't have the courage to take a step in that moment and to do something against it, to follow this gut feeling and this, yeah.
Exactly. And I wouldn't say it's easy. As I said, I mean, it took me like 2 years in the process to decide to leave this research path. But since I woke up every day, like with a kind of a stone in my belly telling me something, I just figured out maybe it's the best way to do. And then you just need to do it and believe in yourself in the long run.
Mm-hmm. I will take you the question now from, I guess it's Anjani. Please correct me if I'm wrong with the pronunciation. So the question is, hi, thanks for the great presentation and motivation. You talked so much about tracking everything, several apps, techniques. I was wondering, how do you balance the tasks and the tracking? I sometimes feel I spend more time tracking.
Good question as well. So this is also a process that you need to go through yourself. You probably know all these guys who are promoting like the 5 a.m. club, and you have to be out or wake up at 4:30 in the morning because you need to be productive and you have to kill it and everything. And I mean, that's cool. And if this is your lifestyle, then it's okay. But for me as a dad, I really focus now on getting sleep because I'm really sleep deprived for the last 1.5 years. So this is something you need to kind of figure out for yourself. And with the tracking and the habits, it's the same. The easiest way for me is at least to start with just a couple of habits. You don't need to do everything. So let's start with make your bed. That's easy, and just stick to it for 2 months. And then you get this tracking app. So I can also show it to you, because this is what I'm actually tracking right now is with this Done app, like make my bed. I don't know if you can read it, for 52 days now. And that's a habit that I'm integrating because that's easy. I started out before I had my second kid. I had a morning routine, like waking up at 6, doing 7 minutes yoga, doing 20 minutes meditation, do a workout, take a cold shower, and write in my gratitude journal, which is the perfect thing. Probably will take you an hour in the morning if you can do it. But nowadays with 2 kids, it's not possible anymore. So I really backed up. And the important thing, as I said, is habits are important, tracking is important, but start slow and don't overdo it, because otherwise you will be in this kind of downward spiral where every day you have this stress where you say, damn it, I have these 5 things to do, but I just reached 1 and I'm a loser because I didn't do it. Maybe tomorrow, and then tomorrow you don't have time again. So just build it slowly. And with the tracking, I guess what really helps is that you have proof, you see it. And for example, with drinking 2 liters of water, it's really challenging for me because I'm drinking some glasses of water per day, but I'm not counting. And by the end of the day, I have no idea how much I drank. So with the bottle, for example, 1 liter bottle, you need 2 of them. And it's kind of automated. You don't have to think about it. If the second bottle is empty, you're done. So that's your tracking. This helps.
Simon is asking, why 7 minutes of yoga and not 10?
Good question, because 7 minutes is less than 10. I don't have time in the morning. And practically, I found a video which is 7 minutes yoga, and this fitted to my time schedule. It doesn't really matter. I also know that 7 minutes is maybe not enough. Maybe you should do 30 minutes, or maybe you should 10 minutes. But this is just, that worked for me. Mm-hmm. And you need to find something that is working. So if it's a pain, every day you go up and you say, this yoga shit, I don't want to do it, but I need to do it, you won't be there in the long run. But if you find something that you say, okay, this is something what I really enjoyed. For example, I really enjoy jumping on a mini trampoline. So I got a mini trampoline. I'm jumping there every day because that's fun and I like it. But I won't be able to run every day for 10 minutes, even for 10 minutes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Here's another question about your habits. So what are your most important habits? Are there like 5 things that you do every single day? And I would like to add one part, which was, how long did it take you to implement your habits? I know it's 66 days in order to implement one, but when did you start with that? And how long are you doing this for now?
This is really a work in progress. So you start a habit. I started a habit of writing gratitude journal, for example, where you write, 3 or 5 things in the morning you're grateful for. And then you write probably how you would like the day to be perfect for you. It's like a little visualization. And in the evening, you take your book out again, your journal, and you say, what was the big wins for the day? I started it, and then after 4 days, I stopped it, and then I didn't do it for 2 days, and then 1 week passed by. So I'm not doing it right now. What I'm doing is making my bed because that's easy. The same thing with 2 liters of water. I started it, I stick to it for probably a month, and now I'm rather loosely not doing it anymore. So I need to figure out another system, probably a bigger flask or whatever. So this is something which is, as I said, which is work in progress. It's not that if you do 66 days, you really implemented it and you don't have to think about it. I mean, this is what science says, but I'm really curious by myself if I reach the 66 days of making my bed, if I don't need to think about it. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, brushing your teeth, we're all doing it in the morning and in the evening. No one is tracking it anymore because that's a given, right? You're just used to it. And the idea is to get used to these things. I would say the most important thing is sleep. I didn't mention it here, but getting enough sleep is crucial. I didn't include it here because I'm not getting enough sleep in my situation as a dad. And I know a lot of dads with small kids, it's impossible to get your 7.5 or 8 hours sleep. But this is really something you should focus on. And then some sort of exercise would be cool. I like to do Tabata workouts. If someone knows about it, Tabata is kind of a high intensity interval training. You do 20 seconds of an exercise, and then you have 10 seconds a pause, a rest. And then you start again, and that's 8 cycles. It's like 4 minutes, and you do like push-ups like crazy, but you're done in 4 minutes. You don't need to go to gym for 2 hours or so. At least this is what keeps things going for your body if you don't have any time. So I would say exercise, sleep, nutrition is important for sure. But I mean, there are all sorts of things, and we can do another webinar about nutrition. I'm not a specialist, but if you dig a little bit into plant-based diet and things like this, alternative medicine stuff. Meditation is good, I would say. But also this, I have to admit, it's not easy to implement if you're doing I'm doing transcendental meditation. It's like 20 minutes twice a day. I have never done it twice a day. If I have time, I do it once a day, which is also already good. But find a schedule for yourself. And as I said, it doesn't matter if it's 5 or if it's 2. It's always better to have less, but stick to it. And if making bed is not for you and you like to drink water, then start with this. So I think there is no right or wrong. And even even if you have one habit, a good habit installs, this will set you apart from 95% of all other guys around there who are not aware of habits.
Mm. I can very much relate to that, that it's very hard to keep those habits going, because I also do meditating and then journaling in the morning, and it happens probably like 3 or in a good week 4 times out of 7. So, but that's a really good week. So it's really, really hard to keep it up and do it 7 times a week. But what I've learned, for example, let's say you try to implement a habit where you want to go for a run every day, but then maybe you don't have energy or you don't have the time, then just still go outside, put your running shoes on and walk around the block. So at least, you know, you trick your brain and you've still done something. So there are some workarounds in order to keep it going. So I think that's, you can find ways to still keep this, what was the app called? Done?
Done, yeah, done. Keep counting, keep the strike counting. Now, there is a great quote from Bruce Lee. He said, be like water. And for me, it's like, in my situation, be like water means for me personally, be flexible. And as you said, I mean, if you're feeling sick and probably don't want to run on the day, just go outside or at least do something else, and don't be too harsh to yourself. So really be kind to yourself. And if it's not working, let's try to make it the best version of yourself the next day.
Yeah, I totally agree. There was a question from Anonymous, whoever that might be. You mentioned the books that you read and that you're reading a lot. So if you read every day, you must know a lot of great books. Do you have any books that you recommend?
Absolutely. So it all depends which kind of niche you're in or which books you want to read. One of the eye-opening book that got me into this whole like online business was Tim Ferriss' 4-Hour Workweek. So probably some of you know about it. Tim Ferriss is one of the big shooting stars in this kind of self-development field. There are tons of books out, but the 4-Hour Workweek was the first one where he started off. And most likely what he explained is that, working on a task and earning money is kind of related. So for example, if I'm a wedding photographer, where I'm shooting a wedding, I'm shooting 8 hours, I'm giving 8 hours of my time, and shooting there, I get X amount of money. And if I'm shooting 12 hours, then I get more money. And the idea of this book from Tim Ferriss, 4-Hour Workweek, is that you kind of disconnect these two things. So it's like, for example, online, you have a product, I'm selling a course, but this is not related to my time there. So I'm just creating it once, and then I set up an automated system, which let me free my time up for my kids, for example, or doing other things while selling the courses online on autopilot. And this kind of mindset enabled me to say, hey, that's cool, because I want to spend more time with my daughter, but being a photographer and trading time for money is not working for me. So maybe I'm building this community and selling an online course, how to become a concert photographer. And it took me years to figure out how this is working, but now I have a system in place where I'm selling the things because people find me on Google by organic search. They type in concert photography, how it's done, settings, camera, whatever. And the cool thing is that I'm in a really small niche and I'm ranking high. So I'm always number 1 to number 3 in Google search for concert photography related terms. So I don't even spend any ads or money on ads, which is awesome. So 4-Hour Workweek is cool, and all the other books from Tim Ferriss I would suggest. Like Tools of Titans is a really good one as well.
Mm-hmm. Super. There's another question. Did you already work with these 4 pillars when you were a photographer, or did you learn about these pillars during your time as a photographer?
Not at all. So these 4 pillars just came into my mind now at this stage where I'm thinking back, because a friend of mine, like Ali, he was also a guest here, and is also, I think he's also a committee member, right, of the challenge, of your next challenge. What's going on, right?
Yeah, he's part of it.
Yeah, so he asked me kind of what are the similar things. I mean, you reached so many milestones. You got a PhD in molecular biology, you started this photography business, you have this online community. What are the common things? And so I started to reflect about it like, a couple of months ago, and found out that, passion definitely is one of the key pillars, because this is what I was always passionate about, and I just followed my passion unconsciously. Then the mindset is something I learned along the way, because I was reading all those books, and every of these entrepreneurs have the same mindset, so adopt the same mindsets. It's the same with the habits. If you read books about high achievers or highly successful people, everyone has this kind of habits in place. And productivity tools. I just recently learned about the Pomodoro technique, but really liked it for myself, so therefore I'm sharing it. So it was not clear for me at all. And as I said in the mindset part, it's not about the end result. It's more like the journey. I learned so much more during doing this 100 interviews, the podcast interviews, compared to episode 100, the last one. It was cool. It was nice. I did it, but that's just a moment in time. But 2.5 years duration where I did 100 interviews, where I learned so much of all these great guys out there. It was so much more beneficial for myself. And so I guess it all evolved from this photography, or being a self-employed photographer, but I had no idea what I'm doing in the beginning. So I was just scared to be self-employed and was struggling a lot.
Yes, we all are.
Exactly.
Hey, Matthias, thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear that. There's a heavy rain shower going down at the moment. I hope the sound is still okay. So maybe one final question. Where can people find you? Where can people reach out to you? What's possible?
Yeah, so the easiest way to reach out is through MatthiasHombauer.com. This is my new homepage. It's just a landing page right there, but I'm working hard on into getting it online, where I talk about habits and also how to start an online business. You can sign up if you want to there, or you go to How to Become a Rockstar Photographer. That's the community page that I'm using. So if someone of you is interested in becoming a concert photographer, feel free to sign up. Also, if someone of you wants to start an online business and just wants to get the feeling how this onboarding process is that I'm using, which emails I'm sending, just sign up for it, and you will get a great overview about the system behind it. Or just you will find me on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter. It's Matthias Hombauer everywhere. In the net.
Super, very cool. Hey, thank you very much. Thank you for being with us today. It was very interesting to listen to you. I wrote down a lot of things. I think I downloaded 3 apps while you were speaking. So.
Oh, nice. That's how it's done. You are a doer, Marco. That's cool.
I knew a few of them. I haven't downloaded them before, so it's pretty cool. I'm going to check them out. I definitely need to check out the Pomodoro technique. Sounds very interesting.
It's crazy what you can do in like 25 minutes. I was really shocked.
Actually, do you switch then the topic that you work on in session 2, or do you stay with the same one?
For me, it's always like I'm focusing on one topic, like, homepage project. I'm reading something, or I'm taking an online course, or I'm building the homepage or something. So I'm always have one task. And since I don't have a lot of time, most likely I do 1 or 2 rounds. So it's like 30 minutes or like 60 minutes. It's not often that I do 4, but if you do 4, then you should make a bigger break, like 15 to 30 minutes. So I would say what would be really productive is if you do 1 in the 4 cycles, in the morning, then you have lunch, and then you do another 1 or 2 of them. And if you do 2 or 3 Pomodoro cycles, 90 minutes, I mean, you're far ahead everyone else who is just, checking Facebook and reading the newsfeed from friends.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, fantastic. Hey, thank you.
Thanks so much.
And yeah, see you soon at one of our next webinars. Take care.
Thank you so much. Bye. And if you have any questions, just reach out to me. I'm happy to help. Bye-bye.